MPC, welcome sa ating weekly economic briefing. Today we have Assistant Secretary Tony Lambino to introduce our guests.
Salamat Yusek Rocky. Pagbati po sa inyong lahat. At welcome po sa ating weekly economic press briefing co-hosted by the Economic Development Cluster and PCOO. Makalipas ang 43 taon ay muling nagbadya ng panganib ang Bulkang Taal dahil sa matinding volcanic activity na patuloy na nagaganap sa kasalukuyan. Makakaasa ang lahat na ang buong hanay ng Administrasyong Duterte ay tumutugon sa kaligtasan at sa mga pangangailangan ng mga nasalanta ng kalamidad na ito. Prioridad namin na masiguro ang seguridad ng bawat komunidad at mamamayan. Malaki ang ambag ng Calabarzon sa productivity at pagpapalago ng ating ekonomiya. Titiyakin po natin na gagawin din ng pamahalaan ang mga kinakailangan upang makabangon ang lahat at magpatuloy ang progreso ng kabuhayan, trabaho at mga industriya sa mga lugar na ito. Upang talakayin ang mga paalala at mga aksyon ng gobyerno sa pag-aalboroto ng Bulkang Taal, sa kalusugan ng mamamayan, sa presyo ng bilihin sa merkado, at sa sektor ng agrikultura, makasama natin ngayong umaga sina Undersecretary Ruth Castelo ng Department of Trade and Industry, Undersecretary Eric Domingo ng Department of Health, at Undersecretary Ariel Cayanan mula sa Department of Agriculture. Yusek Domingo.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Just to update everybody on the status. As of this morning, Taal volcano, of course, still on alert level 4. That means we have possible hazardous eruptions within the next few hours or days na possible pa rin. So the Department of Health and the central office and our regional office in 4A is still under code blue alert. That means that we have an ongoing event that's confined within the region. Of course, our personnel are on hand and deployed in the areas, and all the offices, especially those responding to the emergency situation, are in complete operation. As of this morning, 6 a.m., we have a total of 9,779 families who are affected and are now in 159 evacuation centers. So dumadami yung evacuation centers natin sa Calabarzon. We have about 40,126 individuals. And the main concern of the Department of Health now is, of course, to assure the safety and the healthy environment within the evacuation centers to make sure that we don't have any disease outbreaks, and that everybody, yung nourishment and then yung sanitation and yung proper clean water supply is available. Since this started, we've had 105 patients that were admitted to our hospitals in Batangas Medical Center, Hospital ng Tagaytay. Here in NCR, we have our DOH hospitals here and some LGU hospitals. Most of them have been discharged and are being treated outpatient, pero meron pa kaming naka-admit na 16 patients at this time. Most common cause pa rin for admission and complaints, hypertension, yung mga under very stressful situations. And then we have our patients with pulmonary complaints, na yung mga inuubo, hinihika, mga may bronchitis, and fever would be the third leading cause of admission and consultation. As of now, the Department of Health has augmented the resources of Region 4A and Region 3, and we've been helping distributing medications, especially for asthma and antibiotics for children who might get infections, N95 masks and surgical masks, collapsible water containers, just to make sure na yung tubig na iinumin nila manggagaling sa gripo tatakpan at hindi malalagyan ng abono at hindi siya mako-contaminate. We also have eye drops for those who are suffering from eye irritation and possible infections. And the Department of Health has so far downloaded about 5.4 million pesos worth of commodities, medicines, and goods for our patients and yun nga mga affected population. As of now, yung Region 4A is still handling the situation very well, but our health workers from the neighboring regions, from NCR and Region 5, are ready, and we have them ready for deployment in case magkaroon ng surge ng mga pasyente natin. I-deploy natin sila to Region 4A for additional support. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. From the Department of Trade and Industry, I will read a press statement. Upon the receipt of public reports about the rampant selling of overpriced N95, surgical, and other similar masks in the market, the Department of Trade and Industry immediately mobilized monitoring teams in the affected areas of Cavite, Laguna, Batangas, Quezon, and Metro Manila to monitor the prices and supply of said medical masks, including those goods classified as basic necessities and prime commodities. As soon as we received reports Sunday night, at 6 a.m. in the morning, the DTI dispatched monitoring and enforcement teams to the affected regions. In the special market monitoring conducted yesterday by the DTI in Bangbang, Manila, 12 out of 17 business establishments were issued notices of violations for alleged profiteering. I was personally there. We were able to visit 17 establishments, but the Fair Trade Enforcement Bureau continues to do its rounds. Pursuant to the declaration of state of calamity in areas affected by the phreatic eruption of Taal volcano, prices of basic necessities are automatically frozen at their prevailing prices. Additionally, the Department of Health, which we fully support, issued Department Memorandum Number 2020-0005, which upholds price freeze of all basic essential medicine, including medical supplies such as the N95 mask, disposable face masks, nebulizers, and oxygen formula. The DTI clarifies that while basic essential medicines, N95 masks, and other medical supplies are under the jurisdiction of the Department of Health, the DTI continues to assist this agency in the monitoring of prices and supply of these basic products. As the President, of course, constantly underscores, it is a whole of government approach, and you will see now that the Department of Agriculture is also with us. And this is highly necessary, especially during times of calamities and disasters, so that the government can best provide the utmost service and assistance to the Filipino people. And further to the monitoring efforts of the DTI, we have communicated as well with the suppliers and retailers of medical supplies, such as Mercury Drug, Watson, and South Star Drug, to ensure that there are no unreasonable movement in their prices, and that they immediately restock N95 and other medical masks to ensure constant availability of supply in their branches, especially those located in the affected areas. They have committed to the Department of Trade and Industry that they will not increase their prices. Stocks in their branches and warehouses in non-affected areas have been transferred to the affected areas, such as the Calabar Zone, especially Batangas, NCR, and Region 3. While they were waiting for the arrival of their new stocks. The DTI had also communicated with foreign suppliers to immediately send stocks to the country. The department strongly reminds retailers to refrain from unreasonably increasing their prices of basic essential medicine or other basic necessities and prime commodities enumerated in the Price Act, including, of course, N95 masks and other medical supplies. Prices of manufactured basic goods shall likewise remain unchanged as of the published September 30, 2019 DTI Suggested Retail Price Bulletin. Those found to have committed profiteering or any other illegal act of price manipulation will be dealt with to the highest extent of the law. We will file administrative and criminal charges against business establishments violating the Consumer Act and other pertinent laws. The public is also advised to report any overpricing and any other illegal act of price manipulation through the DTI 1384 hotline or through our official email address for consumers, that is consumercare@dti.gov.ph. Thank you. That is all for the department. Oh, incidentally, if I may add, we have been receiving complaints as well. Aside from the 17 business establishments that we visited yesterday, we have been receiving complaints from the private sector, from the consumers buying these medical devices, sending us the receipts. So we highly encourage the private sector, the consumers, to send us documents that show profiteering on the part of the business establishments so that we can add them to our list. Thank you.
Um, Magandang umaga po, bagamat may pagsubok po tayong kinakaharap ngayon. Ang bati po ng Kalihim at the Department of Agriculture ay masaganang ani pa rin po at mataas na kita. Una po sa lahat ay nais namin ipaabot sa inyo kung ano po yung damage, of course, that you will be interested na dala or nagawa nitong ating pagsubok na kinakaharap. Ang ating pong area na natamaan in terms of hectare mga around 2,772 hectare. So in terms po ng monetary value, umabot po siya ng 577.39 million. And kapag bin-breakdown po natin kung ano yung mga component nito in terms of commodity, ang pinakamataas po, alam naman po natin kung anong mga champion po na produkto or mga agricultural commodity sa Tagaytay. Ang assorted vegetable po ay nangunguna, 56.10%. Ang banana po ay 20.96%. Ang kape po ay 10.91%. Sa mais po ay 7.18%. At ang pinagsama-sama pong iba na other commodity po natin tulad po ng rice, livestock, cacao ay bumubuo po ng 4.85%. So immediately po ang ating responde ay ang Kalihim ay nag-utos na naka-operationalize po yung operational center natin. Siya po mismo ang nagman sa central office nung Lunes. Then incidentally, naka-coordinate po sa lahat ng bureaus and attached agency na may kaugnayan at kinalaman doon, lalong-lalo na pong RFO, Calabarzon Regional Field Office number 4. So, nabanggit po kanina na ano po yung mga interventions at saka mga possible interventions na pwede nating ipamahagi na nagawa po kahapon ng ating Kalihim kasama po ang ibang mga departamento ng eksekutibo at ang Pangulo. Una sa lahat ay may total po tayo na 21.7 million worth of combined intervention for crops and livestock na i-distribute po ng mga DA sa Calabarzon sa 17 pong LGUs ng Batangas. Ang pangalawa po ay alam naman po natin na may mga kakahayupang industriya o paghahayop na industriya na nandoon po at ang BAI po immediately nag-disperse po ng mga available na drugs and biologics to be provided for the affected livestock. Also, 2 trucks are available to mobilize yung pong ating affected areas for animal rescue and evacuation. Hindi po lingid sa lahat na doon po mismo sa paanan ng Taal ay may mga kabayo na dati ginagamit po to carry for tourism or what. So kung ano po yung may sasalba natin, in-evacuate po natin. Sa Bureau of Plant Industry naman po ay may total pong nakahandang 5,000 kape, mother plants, and 1,000 cacao seedlings that are ready for distribution for damaged coffee and cacao areas na nabanggit po kanina. At syempre po, known po ang Taal sa kanya pong tilapia, tsaka yung maliputo, tsaka yung tawilis. So immediately po nag-test po ang Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, yung water condition. Alam naman po natin nagkaroon ng pagsabog, kanya po ang concern po natin ay hindi lang po magpakain, kundi po yung safety po ng kinakain. So that is why kung mapapansin po ninyo, nag-prepare po immediate assistance in the form of fingerlings, but these fingerlings will be distributed as and when pwede na po. Kasi po kailangan po nating matest yung ng tubig po natin. Meron din pong mga ulang, itong ulang yung malaki pong ulo na mga hipon, 50,000 po for hito, 100,000 po para sa big head carp, at 5,000 pong fingerlings po para po sa ayungin na nakahanda po. Sa Baganang National Food Authority naman po ay may initial stock po na 168,758 bags of na mga bigas po na naka-ready for distribution in areas affected by the Taal volcano eruption at sinisigurado po ng administrador natin, si Administrador Judy Dansal, na ito po ay safe at na-secure mabuti sa mga warehouse or cold storage. Ang ACPC or ang Agricultural Credit Policy Council po natin has an initial amount of 30 million to provide to rural o Bank of Mount Carmel as funds for implementation of SureAid or Survival Recovery po. Loan assistance that will benefit around 1,200 farmer. Kanya po pag sinuman natin at kinuha po natin ang ano po niyan ay mga around 25,000 po sa mga nabanggit na farmers. Ang PCIC po, ang Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation, has an available and enough funds to pay for the indemnity of the affected insured farmers and fisher folks. Ang DA Amas po, nabanggit ko po kanina na siyempre may mga na-damage at ilan po dyan ay ang gulay po natin at saka po mga isda. Immediately nag-instruct po ang kalihim na pwedeng mag-source out, tumulong na po ang Region 3 para sa isda at saka pong CAR. At may mga organisado po nating mga magsasaka ng gulay sa nasa bandang Baguio po natin ay tumulong para naman po hindi masyadong ma-distort ang price concern po natin. So, in that event po, ang DA Amas at ang Regional Agribusiness and Marketing Assistance Division, yung po yung AMAD na tinatawag ng DA at ang BIFAR, ay kapatuloy pong nagmo-monitor, katulong po of course, katambay po natin ang DTI, si Yusek Ruth Castelo, para po mapanatili natin ang regularidad pagdating po sa presyo ng mga produkto. Iyan po ang instruction ng kalihim at gusto ko rin pong ipaalam na out of this calamity, ay meron naman pong beneficial na mangyayari. But of course, that benefit is not compensating yung damage. Una po sa lahat, inutusan po natin ang Bureau of Soils and Water Management kung ano po ang magiging bagong kalagayan after that eruption. Alam naman po natin, nung 16-something, 18-something century, ay pumutok din po yan at nabago po niya yung geographic condition including the agroclimatic condition. Kanya po, ang nakikita po nating beneficiary rito ay na-replenish po yung soil natin. There is a short-term, medium-term, and long-term benefit kaparehas po ng Mount Pinatubo. Maraming salamat po.
Okay, kayo po ay napapanood ng live sa PTV. MPC questions? Yeah, Ian Cruz, GMA 7.
Hi, good morning po. For Yusek Ruth and Yusek Eric Domingos, meron na raw pong SRP ang mask and mga medicines. Totoo po ba yon? Kasi marami nga pong nagtataas masyado ng presyo. Ano po ba talagang dapat na presyo ng especially N95 para hindi po ma-confuse sa mga tao na pag bumili sila, alam nila kung overpriced or hindi?
Kagabi, overtime kami ni Yusek Ruth. No? So we did release a price freeze sa affected areas at makikita po ito sa webpage ng sa Facebook page ng Department of Health. List yon ng lahat ng essential medicines. No? So yung pati yung mga pang high blood, pang diabetes, pang asthma, ito yung mga essential na hindi pwedeng tumaas. Meron siyang range and it includes some devices like yung mask. Yung N95 mask, kung hindi ako nagkakamali, ang price range natin na allowed is 45 pesos to 105 pesos. Kasi ito yung price monitoring natin before the eruption. At if ini-freeze natin yung presyo doon, depende sa brand din kasi, no? Merong iba-iba rin yan. Pero yun yung range and that's the allowable range for that particular commodity. Lahat po ng gamot nakalista rin doon tapos nakalagay din yung price range niya. At hindi maaaring tumaas doon.
Yusek Ruth, ibig sabihin kung lagpas doon sa sinasabi ni Yusek Eric Domingo, talagang kakasuhan nyo?
Yes. Sa Department of Trade and Industry kasi, we've been setting the SRP for so long sa DOH because of the calamity, the recent calamity. So they set the price ceiling upon recommendation to the President with his approval, of course. Kaya na-set ng DOH. Any centavo higher than the price ceiling imposed by DOH would be an offense already. So pwede nating filean sila ng kaso or whether administrative or criminal.
Okay, kayo po ay napapakinggan din sa Radyo Pilipinas. Arian.
Kay Yusek Ruth. Ma'am, di ba po may price freeze na po tayo ngayon sa Batangas province for basic goods kasi state of calamity? How about yung neighboring provinces po na affected din po ng Taal volcano eruption?
Ang Department of Trade and Industry, whether there is a state of calamity or not, nakabantay kami talaga dun sa BNPCs that we publish in the regular newspaper. So as of today, we have not changed or we have not made any adjustment to the September 30, 2019 published suggested retail price bulletin. Outside the neighboring area, within the neighboring areas of Batangas, kasi ito yung under state of calamity na naka-price freeze, even outside the province, naka-fix pa din siya dun sa published SRP bulletin as of September 30.
Pero wala pong, as in, bagong order on a price freeze. Halimbawa, for Laguna, Quezon, Cavite.
Under the law, kung walang order, walang declaration
Oo,
ng state
na
of calamity, hindi naka-price freeze. But of course, you can consider also, basta hindi kasi nila pwedeng itaas yung presyo nila above the SRP bulletin imposed by DTI. Any infraction committed by the sellers, whether retailer siya or manufacturer, kinakasuhan namin ng DTI.
Ma'am, last na lang po. Even if yung mga neighboring provinces haven't declared a state of calamity yet, would the DTI consider ordering a manual price freeze for basic goods in these areas?
No, we do not have the power under the law.
Okay po. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alvin Baltasar.
Magandang Yusek Ruth. Yusek, kailan nyo po isasampa yung kaso doon sa mga medical supply stores na nakitaan nyo ng paglabag na profiteering?
As of today, baka ho naka-file na siya. Kasi we finished dun sa 17 establishments that we visited. We finished around 1 o'clock ng hapon, maybe 1:30. So baka ngayon, this morning, naka-file na. And then after the notice of violation, we will issue formal charges against them. Bahala silang magdepensa ng kaso nila during the hearing.
Yusek, just to give us an idea, gaano ba kabigat yung kasong profiteering? Ano yung kaparusahan?
Yes, profiteering is an illegal act of price manipulation under the Price Act. Ang penalty niyan is 5,000 pesos, ranging between 5,000 pesos to 2 million pesos. When found to really have committed profiteering, we can impose the highest penalty ng 2 million pesos.
Sila lang po, Yusek. Can you name us kahit mga 5 or yung mga
Na
sasampatan?
we
May listahan
visited.
po kayo? May listahan
Meron
po kayo?
kaming, those that I took pictures of yesterday, I have some. Sige, can we get back to you later? I will look for it in my phone. Sorry.
Okay, Prince.
Teka lang, ito yung mga, I remember there was R&M Enterprise, there was MJ Enterprise. Kasi doon sa Manila area, in every nook and corner, merong medical supply store. So tabi-tabi sila. Yung nasuyod namin na yun na magkakatabi, marami doon, like I said, 12 out of 17 na magkakatabi.
Prince.
Hi, ma'am. Good morning. Ma'am, regarding fake N95 face mask, ma'am, what are the penalties against airing establishments or medical stores?
We cannot say fake naman, fake in the real sense of the word. We found very low quality N95 masks that I'm sure medical doctors will not even use. Kita mo naman kasi dun sa material na ginamit, dun sa make niya, yung itsura, yung look niya, probably hindi naman hindi naman siya fake, copy ng N95 pero very, very low quality. Na baka hindi rin makasave ng tao from the ashfall na yung that we're trying to prevent.
Just to add, yung kasing ibang masks, mga surgical masks, ano lang yan mga notifiable products lang yan. These are low-risk products. But the N95 mask is of particular importance kasi it's used in the medical field. Kaya siya ay registered siya as a medical device. Meaning, when you register an N95 mask, it has to follow certain standards. So when we got reports of this circulating, actually si Yusek Ruth tumawag sa akin, may nakita silang malambot. We're now dispatching FDA inspectors dito sa mga medical supplies stores natin to check because N95 masks, if they claim to be N95, have to be registered with the FDA. And they should pass the standard set for that particular product.
Ma'am, sir, how do we differentiate a low-quality N95 from the authentic?
Well, there's a physical inspection and of course, if it's a registered product, kumpleto yung documents kasi na isa na submit sa amin, including kung ano yung contents niya, how it was made, and then the filtration effect of that particular product. Yung kasing baka yung mga nakikita natin na mga low quality, possibly not even registered with us. These are being sold without being registered. And in that case, we will have to confiscate them and retrieve them.
I mean, sir, for us consumers, how do we know
Well,
that?
yeah, from the look number one, it says N95. No, merong nakatatak dapat. N95 masks are rigid. They are quite thick, a few millimeters thick, and they are molded talaga for the contour of the face. Kasi talaga ang N95 kasi ang purpose niya is halos less than 1% yung particles na makakapasok other than air. So talagang nakaseal siya, pag sinuot mo siya, nakaseal siya sa buong ilong mo at saka bibig, at makakapal siya at saka rigid siya. Pag mukhang duda kayo, masyadong malambot or manipis, at hindi talaga maganda yung contour sa mukha, then that's probably a falsified product or a counterfeit.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Maricel?
Sir, follow-up lang dun sa question ni Prince. Ano yung is there a violation if, for example, low quality nga yung N95, kiniklaim nila that it's N95 but yet low quality pala siya and it's not registered in FDA?
Yes, if it's being sold as an N95 product, meaning as a medical device, and it's not a registered product or a substandard product, then that's a violation. Pag ganon, pwede silang kakasuhan ng FDA. So yung nagtitinda na establishment will be facing administrative charges from the FDA.
So, ganun karami ang kaso nila. So, aside from
Meron
violations ng Consumer Act, FDA law rin, papasok rin. The Consumer Act kasi has administrative and criminal powers. So, pwede rin pa, in addition, yung sa DOH, FDA.
And ma'am, meron na po ba kayong na-identify na mga cases na nagtitinda ng low quality N95?
Yes, madami. Madami kahapon. These are some of the establishments na na-issuehan na ng notice of violation. Gemry, Rodman, 7J, Jasrich, Priska Medical Supplies and Trading. So these are some of the few. We have concrete evidence against them. So we just also wish to warn the other sellers, yung mga ibang establishments doon sa Manila ng medical supplies. We will not stop. Government will not stop looking at them and running after them. Especially that we know these people are taking advantage of the situation ng mga tao sa Calabarzon, especially in Batangas. Under Article 52 of the Consumer Act, yung Unfair and Unconscionable Sales Act or practice, this activity done by retailers now fall under Unconscionable Sales Act or practice. They are taking advantage of the situation, the difficulty being experienced by the consumers now. So yung consumers will have no choice but will have to buy the N95 regardless of price, especially if they can afford. Diba? Not giving consideration to the true worth of the product.
Ma'am, yun na-mention niyo po ng mga name ng stores. Sila yung kasama doon sa 12 out of 70 na nakita kahapon.
Yes.
But aside doon sa overpriced, nakita rin yung low quality N95.
Yes. We will have to look into that aspect now, yung registration nila sa FDA. Whether the products that they were selling that we found to have been sold yesterday nakaregister sa FDA or hindi. So dagdag pa yun sa kaso nila.
Okay, Jillian?
For DTI and DOH, so how grave is the liability of these particular stores? Because they're obviously registered as medical supply stores, but they're of course they're found selling non-medical grade masks. So, could you explain how deep the liability?
Sa FDA muna, no? Medical supply stores right now are not licensed by the FDA. No? So, drugstores lang ang licensed natin. And kung drugstore siya and it has a license to operate from FDA, that means they're responsible for selling only licensed products. At pag nakita natin na nagbebenta sila ng licensed or substandard products, then we can file administrative complaints against them, including revocation, of course, of their license to operate. Yung mga medical supplies, business permit ang kinukuha nito sa LGU. So we're working also with the LGU of Manila para kung merong violations nga nagtitinda ng mga substandard products, then we have to for FDA we have to work with the local government unit on that.
On the part of the Department of Trade and Industry, based on profiteering naman, we also have prepared a list of stores that we will recommend to the local government of Manila for at least suspension of business license. Kasi sila ang nag-issue ng business permits nito so that they can sell. Minimum penalty would be suspension. At least masuspend man lang so that they will learn their lesson. And this is based on profiteering.
Okay, questions, MPC? Ian, may tanong ka?
Yusek Ariel, yun pong Tagaytay kilala ito sa pinya, ang Batangas naman yung Kaping Barako, yung coffee po, ano? Ano pong epekto nito direkta dun sa dalawang mga produkto nung pagputok po ng bulkan?
Katulad po nung nabanggit ko kanina, ang datos ay nagsasabi na sa saging, dun sa 577.39 million, ay 20% po nung kabuuan na yon ay damage po dun sa saging. Yung lalong-lalo na yung mga senyorita, alam naman natin yung ano nila. Pangalawa po, yung pong sa kape po and other commodity, kasama na po ang kakao, 10.91 po agad ang naapektuhan at sa kakao naman ay 0.03. So mas maliit po dun sa kakao, mas malaki po dun sa kape. Kanya nga po ang sinasabi natin, immediately kapag po pwede na pong i-replenish or pwede na pong yung mga na-damage, ay may nakaredy po tayong mga mother plants po natin o mother tea po natin.
Pero hindi naman po tayo maapektuhan ng supply ng kape po dahil po dun sa nangyari?
Actually po, ang kalagayan po natin ngayon ay hindi lamang po ang area po ng Batangas or ng Tagaytay ang nagsusupply po or tinagtataniman ng kape. Depende po sa ating what you call yung quality. Meron po tayong tinatawag na Liberica, Arabica, at Robusta. So, ang nandoon po sa area niya is across. Yung pong iba naman po, meron po sa kakao, marami po tayo sa Davao, sa Mindanao, at dito na meron po tayo sa Highland sa bandang Baguio po or Carpo natin.
Sir, na-mention nyo rin kanina na meron namang epektong maganda ito in the future. Ano po ba yung makikita natin in the long run?
Of course, sabi nga po natin, yung pong natabon po na mga asphalt or what, just like Pinatubo, na ngayon nakikita nyo na po ngayon ay bumalik na po sa agricultural physical condition. Yung pong lupa na overuse maybe before ay natabunan po so na-replenish po rin yung nutrient content niya. Kaya lang po, sabi nga po natin, dahil po may acidic particle po to, kailangan pag-aralan po ng Bureau of Soils and Water Management kasi po may traceability concern naman po tayo para safe naman po ang kinakain natin.
Okay, MPC questions? Maricel, then Jillian.
Yusek Domingo. Yes, yesterday po, sinabi ni Asek Laksamana yung nabawal kainin yung mga isda sa Taal Lake and yung sa kalapit na areas in Batangas. But then, yung team namin nag-iikot doon kanina, it seems na hindi nakikinig yung mga residente. They're still getting tilapia and other fish. Ginigrill pa rin nila. Can you just reiterate the danger?
Oo, ito agree kasi ang DOH at saka ang DA dito. No? Hanggang hindi tayo sigurado, might as well be cautious. No? Because we know that toxic substances have been thrown out of the volcano and na-dissolve yan sa tubig natin. No? At kung makikita natin, kung enough siya para pumatay ng isda at pumatay ng hayop, then pag na-ingest natin ito, maaaring makailipat sa katawan ng tao, itong mga toxins na to. So until we await the further tests of DA and clearing na walang toxin level na nakakatakot dun sa tubig, wag muna po sana. No? Refrain lang tayo from taking itong mga isda. Yung gulay at saka yung wala pong problema yun. Basta hugasan lang yun. No? Yung gulay at saka prutas na nalagyan ng abo, basta hugasan lang ng mahusay yon at linisin, pwedeng kainin yon. Pero yung pong buhay na hayop, yung mga isda, nakaka-ingest kasi sila ng toxins. And until we are sure, we advise the public to please refrain, just for caution.
Okay, pero Yusek Ariel, paano yung supply ng tilapia bangos dito sa Southern Luzon?
Apo, this is an opportunity po. Number one, for the other regions, not only what they produce right now, opportunity para maidala naman po doon sa ibang area katulad po ng Southern Tagalog natin or Cavite. Pangalawa po, it gives us a bird's eye view on how do we plan expansion. Ibig pong sabihin, mas marami dapat ang kanilang magiging harvest. And ang sa tilapia po kasi it will take around 3 to 4 months. So mabilis din po ang pagre-replenish natin. Depende lang sa sizing na gusto natin. So may immediately instruction po ang kalihim na again, volume is very important. Yung organisado pong mga magugulay at saka organisadong mga mag-fish fund ay makipag-coordinate po para mahango po natin yung kanilang mga produkto sa mga napektuhan po nating mga mamamayan. And in fact, largely ang naapektuhan po ay hindi lamang po yung area yung pati pong Metropolitan Manila.
Okay, Jillian?
So DA po, is there an updated estimate on the agricultural loss sa Taal as of today po?
Sa kabuuan po, hindi lang po Taal kasi maraming naapektuhan kasama po yung Karatig Bayan. 3 p.m. po yesterday and we'll update again mamaya pong hapon ay 577.39 million at saka po ang hectareage naman po na tinamaan ay nasa 2,772 hectares po.
Okay, questions? MPC? Wala na tayong tanong? Okay, thank you.
Clarify ko lang.
Yes.
If I may just add, dun sa suggested retail price bulletin ng DOH on N95 masks, yung 45 pesos to 105 pesos. Yesterday, meron kaming, kasi depende sa brand yan and depende sa quality ng item. Yesterday, we saw dun sa stores, yung delivery receipts nila, maybe 60, 65 pesos per piece, they sell it at 120 to 150 pesos. So clearly, kung magkano yung profit markup na ginagawa nila, allowed under the law is 10%, pero kung mag 20%, 30% ka na, sobrang klaro ng violation. So again, we issue the warning to the retailers and business establishments that we will not stop running after them, lalo na sa ganitong sitwasyon under the calamity. This is by instruction of Secretary Lopez. Kailangan talaga namin gawin to also prevent the consumers being taken advantage of.
Okay, salamat Yusek Castelo, Yusek Domingo, Yusek Kayanan. Salamat MPC. Balik tayo sa People's Television Network and sa Radyo Pilipinas.